Anyone who saw the first Hills Have Eyes, or the remake, they kind of know what they're getting themselves into a bit with number 2. But the mutants in this film are a little less family-oriented. They're kind of like the hillbilly clan that sort of branched off from the rest of the group from the first film.
So The Hills Have Eyes 2, you're continuing with these nasty mutants that just, you know, are cannibals and they smell blood and they'll come after you. But it really gives you a look of just what these creatures are and how they live and where they live and, you know, how they kill.
This one is about kind of a troop of misfits and National Guard rejects who respond to a distress call. And once they go into the mine area, there's certain hill people running around to meet and greet them in loving, bloody ways. Hey, welcome to our hill.
The idea with these characters were that these mutants evolved a little bit more than the last ones. These people were smart enough to stay out of sight, live deeper in the mines, and stay out of trouble until this particular moment in time.
No!
Yeah!
They are the remnants of a second purge. In Alex Aja's version, the families had been miners and they had been living there when the government then tested A-bombs. So I figured this is the next generation. So they're not irradiated in the same way, but they're genetically modified.
We assume that this is an extended family of mutants. They've all had the radiation. They are different looking, they are frightening, they are coming from underground for the most part. Once you're into the tunnels and once these mutants are coming out of the tunnels, and they come out in the tunnels in fierce and fabulous ways.
This is a group of mutants that have been living inside the caves for survival. And they're stronger, more desperate. They don't really have the family situation, you know, if you can call that from the first movie. So they're a hardier lot.
Hades, Chameleon, Grabber, and some of the other mutants, you don't really get a sense that we're all together in the community. We're very fractured from each other. There is certainly a sense that Hades is the top dog and that everybody answers to him, but they're not a cohesive unit until they're called upon to do so.
Hades is basically the alpha male. He's the father figure of the New Mutant clan. Hades is very abusive and dominant. It's almost like an abusive father figure to the Chameleon character, and Chameleon thus bullies all the other mutants.
They're extremely aggressive. They want to eat, and they want to screw, and they want to keep their clan going.
We were trying to get what is the mythology of this family, and, well, what are these people up to? Certainly one thing would be to repopulate. We had the notion that what if they'd lost all their women? They're in the middle of this desperate thing to survive by repopulating themselves after being decimated. So in a sense, it's Hades looking for an heir. Looking for a son. He's like the Mad King Richard, you know, he just can't get a fertile wife. And then we said, well, what would a birth be like in that place? And from there, we just, you know, kind of went crazy. But this tremendous resilience, this tremendous, you know, baby that comes out of a mother and it gets stuck and puts its own arms up and pushes itself out, it's like, okay, they're tough. They have enormous resilience and enormous just animal strength. Right away, you know you're in trouble. If the baby can do that, what can the adults do?
Well, I think the sexual part is really, it's survival. It's the mutants needing to breed. So their whole focus is to impregnate women that they find, you know, travelers and tourists and National Guard members to keep their tribe going.
You get me, baby.
Things start to happen where the National Guard troops, they start getting separated. Some stay at base camp, some go up to on the rescue mission, and because we're being separated, different mutants start attacking different groups, and you know what happens then.
We've got mutants that are more agile, have more power to them, and this time we're actually going into the hills. Like, we're actually going in and seeing their world and fighting them on their turf. It's not just out in the desert, like we're actually in the deep, dark, dripping tunnels.
We've gone deeper into the hills and we are exploring old Victorian mines. They've been there for over 100 years. Initially, they would have taken over old mine rooms, like a stable for pit ponies, or where the miners may have slept or eaten. And we have a sort of breeding room, we have a room full of dead bodies and meat, and it's horrible.
a fascinating thing to me. You have a group of people that just kind of disappear into the ground, and we're right back to the Stone Age in a way. It's truly the underworld, and it is where they have to go to survive.
For me, it was just always logical that if you grow up and you have to hunt, like any animal that has to hunt and has to live, you start to take form and shape from your surroundings.
I think one of the most brilliant additions to the mutant cast was Chameleon. You know, he blends in with the rocks, so you think you see him everywhere, especially when you're inside, when you're in the dark, in the shadows, he could be right there. And that is gonna take the fear factor through the roof.
When I read the script myself and reading the Chameleon character, I thought, this sounds very superpowery, very, superhero special effects. I'm like, how does that fit into a mutated family? I wasn't too sure. But then once going into K&B and seeing how they were presenting it, I was like, this is fantastic, because it looks like rocks, and that there are actually like kind of mutations and boils all over him that have gotten really dirty and nasty. It kind of ties into like a camouflage, like a self-camouflage.
I was like, how are they gonna do this? Like, is it gonna be computerized? Like, what are they gonna do? And the first day on set when I saw him, he looked like a rock. Like, Chameleon's teeth are rocks. They really, like, pay attention to, like, small details which make it even more incredible. They're amazing mutants in this film.
There was one particular scene when he's behind Missy, he turns around and comes and grabs her from behind. The plan was to blend the texture that's on his skin into the rock that he's up against. But in looking at the dailies and how it turned out, it works perfectly. I don't have to do anything. I mean, if you really look for him, you can see maybe a sense of a shape. I mean, he's just blurry in the background, but it works perfectly as it is.
We're very proud of Chameleon. We're doing a lot of silicone work, which, looks and the feel and everything. It's amazing. Derek's makeup takes 4 hours, but he's used to that. These guys are veterans at prosthetic makeup, and, they just come in, it's early in the morning, everybody's relaxed, and most of the time they just fall asleep, and then they wake up with this new face on. Actually, it is 3. They live in the hills and they live underground, and they don't really see the light of day too much. And so they just kind of deform and warp with no sunlight. Things can't grow or things get distorted, and plus there's only a few of them, so there's an incestual element about this. The gene pool isn't very big, so that kind of, I think, helps with the mutations.
I think when I start putting on the prosthetics, when they start that elaborate process of getting me from where I am now to putting on the makeup and then taking that and using that makeup to really get into that character and bring it to life. I mean, it's just a lot of fun that way. I'm probably the most domestic of the mutants. Whether I'm the most harmless of the mutants, well, it remains to be seen. But you can tell from what I've got in my cave, I've certainly managed to pull together a wide variety of things taken from the other people.
I sort of see him like not even killing the people so much, but like maybe the rest of the group killed them. He ate it and then took their clothes. My idea of like the mutants is that I really wanted the audience to smell them and be horrified by how much dirt and sweat and grossness they possessed. The grosser, the better.
These are monsters that we've created, that our nation has had a hand in creating. So it's kind of like our past is coming back to haunt us. And the mutants are a bit sympathetic because they're victims, but their victimhood has turned them into horrible monsters.